good, my YouTube friends and family? It's your boy Yanni, aka Rebel, back at you with another video, another banger back to back. Here we got one of my good time clients, and he's coming in to get a fade. So we're gonna do a little tutorial on how to do this fade. It's gonna be a little bit more in depth than all the other ones, and he is getting a mid fade, and we're really gonna focus on the fade aspect of the haircut. Even though this haircut does require the top to be cut with scissors, I really wasn't focused too much on recording this part, so I didn't get a good angle on the shear work. So when we actually do get to the shear work, it's gonna be a fast forward. So in order to prep the hair, in order to come and do a little bit of scissor work, you have to first wet the hair. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm using my mister, and I'm wetting the hair, and I'm preparing it to get ready to be cut with scissors, because you know, you cut hair with scissors, it's got to be wet. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking off maybe a 1/4 of an inch. I'm really not taking too much hair off. I'm only taking a little bit to make it all even and make it cleaned up on top, a little trim up with the scissors. So we're gonna fast forward this part a little bit as you see, and once we get over to the fade part, that's when we're gonna slow it down a little bit and break that down. And this fade will be done with all guards. Yeah, there will be no clipper over comb technique, scissor over comb technique. It won't be none of that. This will all be done with guards, and the guards will be the babbleless or the wall system. So if you do have a wall babbleless or you use that system, you will be able to use these steps in order to do the fades the exact same way as I do them. So we're just gonna fast forward here a little bit, get past cutting the top of the hair with the scissors. And he did have a couple cowlicks, so maybe later on in the future I will do a video on how to do shear work, and especially with clients that have cowlicks. So in the future, be looking for that if you want to see a video on how to cut hair with scissors. But this is more focused on clipper work and how to fade a hair, especially a client like this with light hair color, and also light, like the texture is real light, so it's real hard to fade. You can mess up real easy. So here what I'm doing is I'm coming in with the Slimline Pros, and I'm gonna end up switching over to the bablesses because the Slimlines weren't cutting through this hair. And what I'm doing is I'm setting in my first guideline. This is your bald guideline. This is the first guideline that you set in order to start any fade. So when you start any fade, you always set in your guideline. And as you can see, I'm dropping it a little bit in the back because I want my fade to drop a little bit in the back as well. So that's why I drop it a little bit. And when I come to the edge of the fade, everything else that's underneath of that line will be balled out. So you come behind it with your trimmers and you take off all the bulk, and then you're gonna follow behind with your shavers. So this line, you just try to set it in as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It could go straight across. If you want it to be a higher fade, you bring the line higher. But me, I'm going more for like a lower drop mid fade. So that's why I kind of like brought my line a little bit under in order to give myself a little more space for the fade to breathe. So what you see me doing here is I'm taking off all that bulk underneath the bald guideline that I set in. And once you knock out all this hair, you're gonna come behind it with the shavers and bald everything out. And this is how you start every single fade. You always start by setting in your bald guideline, which is your first guideline. And then from there you will set in the rest of your guidelines, and then you'll start taking those guidelines out. So set in this guideline as neat as possible. It doesn't have to be all the way perfect because it will be faded later on. guys, those skeleton trimmers, man, them things, I recommend them for anybody. With that 2.0 graphite blade, them things is hitters. Here I'm coming in with the Philip Norelco. I recently got some new shavers. I got the Babyliss Rose Gold foils, and those things are nasty. I mean, they get the hair down bald. But for this video, I used the Norelcos, and what I'm doing here is I'm balding out all the hair that was underneath that first guideline that I set in. This just gives you another transition in the fade. And always leave a little bit of hair at like the line. Don't bald out to the line, because then it'll be harder for you to take that line out. And here, guys, what I'm doing here is I am tapering the beard. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm fading the beard. And what I'm doing is I'm coming in with my Babyliss Gold FX. I'm coming in with the lever open halfway, then close. Then I'm coming in with my one guard all the way open, halfway, then close. As if you're doing a taper, you do the same thing on the beard to fade. Not really going to focus too much on fading the beard or lining up the beard or lining up at all in this video. The main focus of this video is to teach you guys how to do the fade. So later on towards the video, it's not going to be focused on the lineup. And if you watch one of my other videos, you can look in the description below and it'll teach you guys how to taper, and you use those same steps to do the beard taper. Alright guys, so here we're going to start by setting in our first guideline, and this is the no guard all the way open with our gold FXs, so therefore that's like a 0.5, and you're going to set in this guideline about 1/2 of an inch. And in this video you'll see me go back and I actually make this guideline a little bit bigger because I want more of a transition because of his hair being so light. And I didn't want this fade to be so compressed. So that's why you'll see me go back and actually make this guideline a little bit bigger. And you see me here fading out the other side of the beard. And that's a 1.5 guard. So the beard is being knocked down to a 1.5 guard. So then all you gotta do is fade from that 1.5 guard. So you'll come no guard, lever open, then one guard, lever open, then close, and then you'll take out that middle line with the 1/2 guard as if you were doing a taper. The same steps, but you do them in reverse. And that's to fade out any beard. And when you fade out the beard, it just gives the beard a nice transition to go into the taper or the fade. And guys, like I said before, here I'm coming back in with my no guard, lever open, and this is because I wanted to make the guideline a little bit bigger. And the reason that I wanted to make it a little bit bigger was in order to give myself more space for the fade to breathe. And here usually I set in this guideline, the second guideline, I set it in with the one guard open, but this is the 1.5 guard close. Therefore it's pretty much the same thing. One guard open is 1.5, or 1.5 close. It's pretty much the same thing. And I'm setting this guideline in about another 1/2 of an inch, or I think it's about 3/4 of an inch, because I made my guidelines a little bit bigger because I wanted this fade to breathe. So just follow along guys, set in your second guideline. In this guideline I made it about the same size as my first guideline, if not just a tiny bit bigger. You guys can make your guidelines how you want. And here guys, this right here is a number 2 guard, and it's all the way open. And here what I'm doing is I'm knocking off all the bulk on top of that 1.5 guideline that I set in. Usually a lot of guys like to take out the bulk first, so they'll do this step first before setting in any guideline. And that's in order for them to be able to see better as to what they're doing. But for me, I didn't do that. I'm actually taking out the bulk right now, and this is a 2.5. Then you could come behind it with the 2 guard close and take out some of that weight underneath. I actually do that later. I don't do it right now. So this is a 2.5, taking out the bulk almost up to the parietal ridge. The parietal ridge is where like the side of the head meets the top of the head. Just take off all that bulk in order to give yourself something to fade into. So since that's a 2.5, we know that we are fading into a 2.5. And what I'm doing here now, I'm coming in with my one guard. It's all the way open, and what I'm doing is I'm flicking out that weight from the 1.5 guard that I set in into that 2.5. And I'm not really trying to fade it all the way out. I'm more just trying to lighten it up and take up some of that weight. So that's what you see me doing here, is just taking off some of that weight from where I set in my 1.5 guideline. And I did use the 1.5 open, I believe, too. So that's why I am flicking this out to that 1.5 open. And this is just to soften that line up in order to make it easier for you to come behind and take out. And here what I'm doing is I'm coming in with my half guard. It is all the way open, and I was just taking out a little bit of the weight. And here I'm just coming back with the 1.5 guard, and I'm taking out some more of that weight from the 1.5 to the 2. It is all the way open, and I will close it as needed, but this is just to take out that bulk. So you make it easier for yourself by taking off some of the weight. You're not really always going to blend the line all the way out, but you can soften up the line in order for you to come behind it with a lower guard, like I'm doing right there. I came in with the 1.5 guard to soften it, then I come behind it with the 1 guard open, and that's to actually blend that line out, that 1.5 line to the 2. You flick out and use your corners as much as possible, and that's how you're gonna blend that line out, guys. Remember, flick. When you're fading, flick. I love these clippers because of the blade. The blade doesn't take off so much hair. Here what I'm doing, guys, is I'm coming in with the clipper all the way closed, and I'm attacking that first guideline. So we're attacking that first guideline, then we're gonna come in halfway and meet that first guideline at the top. So when this is the most important guideline that you got to take out, this is the bald guideline. It's usually one of the hardest lines to take out, depending on how you set it in and how you actually, you know, how close you got with the shaver. So this line right here, you're gonna use the clipper all the way closed and try to take out that line. If that line doesn't come out all the way, you can always come behind it with the trimmers or whatever you actually set the guideline in with in order to take it out. But for me, I did zero gap these Gold FXs this time, so they do cut close now. They are zero gapped, and that is why I am able to take out this guideline, and that's what you see me doing here. Now I'm coming in halfway, and I'm just blending up to the line. Wherever I see dark spots, that's where you see me attacking this fade. And I'm not taking this any higher than that 0.5 guideline that I first set in. So you're always gonna you set this in with the lever open, so you're gonna take it out with the lever closed, the lever halfway, and then the lever open until you see that guideline come out. And this right here takes a lot of practice, guys. It takes a lot of practice. You have to learn your eyes, learn your positions, learn what you're looking at. But with time, you guys will get better. Trust me, you guys will get better. Just attack this line. Don't be scared, and you will see it start to fade out. As you can see here, I'm working this line, and you'll see me come back and actually do a little bit of detail work later and take out dark spots that I do see. But for right now, I'm mostly taking out like the biggest stuff, which is coming in with the lever closed, then halfway, then open, until that first guideline is all the way out. So now I'm gonna let you guys just sit back, relax, and just enjoy and watch. As you guys can see, that line is starting to disappear, and this fade, you guys are slowly starting to see it come together. In my next tutorial will actually be like a full length one. It won't be fast forward, it won't be anything. It might be like a 45-minute video, and that's for the guys that do want a full in-depth. I might do the in-depth shears, fade, beard, lineup, everything on one of my next videos. But this right here is just to drop a little bit of the content that I do have saved on my camera. So here guys, what I'm doing is I'm coming in with the half guard, and I'm taking out that line from the no guard all the way open, and then that 1.5 guideline that we set in. So what I do is I come in with the half guard all the way open, and then I close it as I go down and start to fade this line out. And remember, this is to fade the guideline that you set in either with the 1 guard open or the 1.5 guard close. So that second guideline, you take it out with the half guard. And yeah, I always like to come in open halfway then close. I know a lot of people that like to come close halfway then open. It doesn't matter, it's more like a preference thing and whatever you like to do. But for me, I like to come with it open halfway, then close. That way, I'm more safe on actually how much hair I'm actually taking off. And as you guys can see, from the bottom all the way to where I'm at now, it's starting to blend. Even though you see all that weight on the top, we will take that weight off, but mainly we're focused on this section right now. I'm blending this section out. Use your corners, flick, try not to dig in too much with the clipper, and try not to set in more of a guideline for you to take out later. So just flick, 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 and you guys will see all this come together. This right here, this half guard is like one of the most important guards to use, because this is what blends out from the half guard to that 1 or 1.5 line, the second guideline. Alright guys, so here what I'm doing is I'm coming back in with my 1 guard. It is all the way open, and I'm attacking that bulk from the 2 and the 1.5. And what I'm doing is I'm flicking and I'm taking off some of that weight. You see that the darkness right there that I'm attacking? As you can see, I opened the lever all the way, and right there I'm just attacking that dark spot right there. You guys see the dark spots right there? That's gonna lighten that up. You'll see it start to lighten up. Flick out until you start to see that spot start to lighten up. If like towards the back of the head, the hair is usually thicker, so you might have to close the lever as you see me do there. If the hair isn't fading, just play with the lever. Close it little by little and keep flicking at the hair until the hair starts to fade. Wherever you see dark spots, that's where you're going to attack. But remember, don't go too high with the lever. So since this is a 1.5 guard, we're only going to attack to where the 1.5 and the 2 meets. And that's to take off that bulk. Alright guys, and here I'm coming in with my 1.5 guard. That is all the way open. And what I'm doing here is I'm just blending out from that 1.5 to the 2.5 that I actual guards. In a later video, I will show you guys how to do clipper over comb, which will save you guys a lot of time on your haircuts. But this is for the purpose of the guys that wanted to see how to do a fade with all guards. So like I said, that's a 1.5 guard, and it's all the way open, and I'm just flicking out the bolt from the 2. Coming back behind it with the 1.5 and just cleaning up some of the dark spots. Wherever you see dark spots, that's where you're going to attack. So look at this fade, guys. You guys tell me, do you guys see any dark spots? Alright guys, so here this is a number 3 guard, and I believe I'm coming in all the way open, so it's a 3.5, and I'm blending into the shear work that I did on top with the scissors. And this isn't going to blend all the way from where you put in that 2.5 line, so you will have to come behind it with the 2 guard in order to take it out. And I do use a 4 guard in order to blend into the top of his hair, but right here I'm just using the 3 guard in order to take some of that bulk off from the top to meet it to this fade. Remember, up to the parietal ridge we use the 2.5, so here we're using a 3, and we're flicking that weight that we did cut with the scissors. And we are not using clipper over comb, guys. We're not. I know I could have used clipper over comb, but I'm teaching you guys how to do it with the guards. And here, guys, I'm coming in with the number 4 guard, and I'm just blending in a little bit more onto the top of the hair. Usually a number 4 guard blends into the top of the hair. And whether you cut it with shears or whatever, the number 4 is usually what blends everything to the top, especially on straight hair clients like this. So that's what you see me doing there. It's just taking out a little bit of the bulk, blending into the top. And here I'm flicking, I'm really not digging in because I don't want to take too much hair off. I'm just trying to lighten it up. And remember, I told you guys I was going to come behind it with the 2. This is actually the 2 open, so it's a 2.5, and this is going to blend that little area that we set in with the 3 guard. And you can see it, you see the dark spots, like right there where I'm attacking right now. You will see those dark spots start to go away. And flick, don't really dig in too heavy into here, because then you will set yourself up to set in another guideline. And guys, that fade is pretty much all the way done. Now what I'm doing is I'm coming in and I'm going above and beyond, and I'm doing detail work. Wherever I see little dark spots, I'm coming in and I'm flicking out those little dark spots in order to try to give this fade even more of a transition. Trust me, your clients will know that you're going above and beyond, and you're trying to give them the best haircut that they possibly can have. And this is all that is right here. This is all shear work. Not shear work, excuse me, guys. This is all detail work. Detail, detail, detail after you do all your steps. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not really gonna show you guys the lineup or the beard or anything like that. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I will do a video on it later, but this was more to show you guys how to do the fade. Well, real quick, not too quick, but also not too in-depth video, but just so you guys can see the steps, especially on a straight hair client like this, because this hair is hard to fade because of the texture and the color. You will see dark spots, and you'll see just your eyes will play tricks on you. But wait till you guys see the final product of this hair. This haircut came out fire. This fade was on point. I was in my bag this day. Here I'm coming in with that half guard, and I'm just flicking out some of those dark spots that I have still. All this is detail work. So what all detail work is you're just taking out dark spots that you left behind, and use whatever appropriate guard to wherever section of the hair that you're at. And here, guys, like I said, I wasn't going to show you guys the lineup, but this is me lining him up. You guys are about to see the final product. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, comment. I hope you guys like the video. If you like the haircut, press like on the video. Show your boy some love, share the video. I will be dropping more content. I have a lot of content to edit. So hopefully I will be dropping a lot more videos, more in-depth stuff. You know, I will show you guys how to do lineups, how to do beards, how to do shear works, how to do clipper over comb. A lot of more content for those of you guys who want to learn how to do these haircuts will be dropping soon. And thank you guys for supporting me, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked the cut. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below. Okay, look at that fade, y'all. What y'all think? Do y'all like it? How did it come out? Rate my cut on the comments below. Tell me what you thought about the video, the cut. Thank you guys. Everyone stay blessed. I will be dropping more videos soon. And until we meet again, guys, safety first, always. Yanni.